We're glad to have you back. President Bola Tinubu has pleaded with his compatriots, that's Nigerians, for us to have patience as we continue to grapple with the tough economic situation. In an Independence Day speech, President Tinubu defended his economic reforms, saying they were necessary and were beginning to bear results. He also insisted that Nigeria was winning the war on the violence that has killed thousands in the north over recent years, a declaration that will seem far-fetched to some. In Tuesday's address, President Tinubu has said his administration has no choice but to put the economy on a more stable and sustainable path. He also noted that numerous other countries across the world had seen an increased cost of living. My second guest today is the Managing Director, Chief Executive Officer at Dignity Finance and Investment Limited. He joins me live from Abuja, Dr. Chijioke Ikechukwu. Good afternoon, Dr. Ikechukwu. It's good to have you on the program this afternoon.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Tolu.
Yes, I think we need to start with the fact that President Bola Tinubu again agrees that there is a fallout from the policies that have been instituted by his government. And he's saying that it's just for some time. I don't know how that comes to you.
I agree. It's just for some time. You know, I have a simple analogy to describe this. The fact that somebody approaches a doctor with an ailment, and doctor sees the ailment and prescribes some medications. Even when you start applying those medications, it will take a while before the sickness or the ailment will ease off. You know, even if it's just ordinary headache, it takes a while for the sickness to be eased off. So we agree there is a sickness here, economic sickness, and so we agree that all the measures, there are a whole lot of measures from the monetary policy to the fiscal policy. There are many of them, and Rome was not built in a day, and so for these policies to actualize into very commendable results, then we need some time for them to come up. So that's what I agree that, a lot of things are going on. Most of them are not even coming to the open, and certain reforms are happening. So I expect that, and I agree that it will take a little while before we start seeing the outcomes of all these reforms.
The president called out some state governors like Kebbi, Niger, Jigawa, Kwara, Nasarawa, Southwest governors, embracing agricultural production programs. What is your assessment about this?
I have experienced some of the efforts made by some of these governors mentioned. Kebbi, for example, I know they are doing a whole lot with their greenhouse agricultural production, and they are doing a lot in mechanized agriculture, and a lot more happening. I have always mentioned that if every state government works so hard in agricultural production, just like some few, we're going to be having excess food, and the food security will just be assured. And it doesn't take anything for these state governments to actually take agriculture very seriously, because they have variable lands, and so all they need to do is just to invest a little more in agriculture and take it seriously, so that there will be production and outputs coming from 36 states of this federation. If 36 states are producing enough for their state people and for others, there won't be any food scarcity, obviously. So we need to do more as state governments, because federal government has done a lot for production. So we're not expecting that. We're expecting that production of agricultural produce should be more if all state governments participate in it.
Staying with this speech, President is saying that there's a determination to implement the Supreme Court's judgments, that's on financial autonomy for local governments. And that seems to be something that would help facilitate development, because the local government will be more accountable to the people. What do you also make of that? Money is coming directly to the local government. Do you see more development in the grassroots now? Because at the end of the day, inclusive growth is what government must achieve, and that must include the local government.
That was what it used to be until certain policies and certain laws changed for us to have combined accounts, joint accounts. So with this autonomy right now, and if well implemented, because I am also seeing from the local government elections we are seeing, I'm not seeing that kind of total autonomy, because we still see the fact that the states are influencing a lot of things happening in the local government elections and all that. So we need to implement that particular process very well, in such a way that monies indeed will go to the local government treasury and the local government chairman will execute them. So we need to take charge of what's going on with the elections of the local government areas. Right now, if we don't get it right, then those monies also will not be right.
That's also a very good one. The energy transition program is what everyone is also talking about. We know what is happening with petrol, and that's true, Doc. I don't think we've spoken since the new price of petrol. We know what that is now, and government is pushing so hard to hit the CNG level. That's what they want to do. CNG buses for cheaper public transportation. They're giving states and all of that. What is also your assessment with this energy transition program of government and your reaction to the price of petrol? It's a 2-in-1.
That's right. Yeah, sure. The effort of government in the CNG area is very commendable. First of all, it's going to achieve two major areas. The first thing is the fact that it's going to reduce drastically the cost of transportation, which hitherto gone so high because of cost of petroleum products. So it's going to be affordable for vehicle owners, especially the commercial vehicle owners, to be able to commute from one end to another and not spending so much. And the second advantage of that is just it's in alliance with the green energy thing, talking about our environment and things like that. So that is actually very commendable, and the speed at which that took up is also very commendable. Unfortunately, really, I say unfortunately because that particular service of converting to CNG is still not very affordable to an average person. And so if need be, we may have some kind of subsidy in that area to be able to reduce the cost of installation of that, so that every person will key into that and make it affordable to everybody to be able to use. So those are the things we need to do concerning the CNG. Otherwise, I think it's commendable what the federal government has done in that energy area.
You react to the price of PMS. Yes, not staying really with the back and forth that has happened between the NNPCL and the Dangote refinery, but we were waiting for this refinery. I know, Dr. Kechuku, we talked about this. Not just you, or the analysts like you said, once this refinery comes, we should heave a sigh of relief. But that's not what is happening at the moment.
That has been the expectation of Nigerians, that immediately we are done with this refinery, prices of petroleum products should come down. And it should be so because the crude oil belongs to Nigerians. And if the crude oil belongs to Nigeria and to Nigerians, then we should be able to decide at what rate we will get it to send it to Nigerians. All we need to do, we're not going to call it subsidy this time. We're going to say, yes, this thing belongs to us. And so if it belongs to us, refinery, whether Dangote refinery or Nigerian refineries, take this crude oil product at social price. Since they can be sold in Naira, take them in social price and sell to Nigerians in social price. If that is done, we are actually going to help to control the price of the petroleum product, so that we don't throw them into the air to react to prices of international prices. Of course, so these are the things we can do. Since the crude oil is our product, we can actually decide to sell to the refinery and at a particular price, and that will regulate how much they're going to sell to Nigerians. That is just the way to reduce the cost of these petroleum products. And if we do it, it's going to be very helpful in controlling the price.
Well, Getimo, let's move forward and look at debt service. The president says there has been a remarkable reduction from about 98% to about 68% at this time. Government has also been able to raise more revenue. Everyone knows this is important. Our reserves are even looking pretty good, despite the fact that government has been able to offset some payments, that's forex that was accrued before this government came into power. How do you also react to this?
You know, when I give analogy of a person with ailment. There were a lot of ailments around the system of our economic system, and it's heartwarming to know that the FS backlog has been amounting to about 7 billion, has been settled by federal government. The president also mentioned that the ways and means, outstanding ways and means, also has been paid off. You know, these are the steps towards, let me call it economic reconciliation, you know, towards solving the economic issues of the country. And then to reduce the debt service ratio to 68 from 97. Of course, Nigerians, we were arguing the fact that it's not about debt to GDP that was not very high, that was the issue. It's about what it takes us to service our debt on an annual basis. So if it had come down to 68%, it's a very good development from 97%. So these are gradual routes towards economic recovery. And so, you know, it takes a whole lot of things, a gamut of things to be able to have a stable and very comfortable economy. These things contribute to them. And so as we're dealing with them one after the other, there are indications that we're actually heading towards light at the end of the tunnel.
That's interesting. Now, the youths, yes, very important. The president is talking about a confab for the youth to discuss issues, give them opportunities, dialogue that will ensure that their voice is heard. Many also have said on the other side that, this is a good one. How would you also react to that?
I also agree that it's a good one because, you know, you never get it wrong with dialogue. You never get it wrong, whether in your home, in your office, with government to government, business to business. Once there's dialogue, there are agreements, and everybody meets his own side of agreement, you see that everybody will just go home satisfied. So I agree that that conference, that confab is going to go a long way in assuaging the pressure arising from the youth. Obviously, constituting a higher percentage of the population of Nigeria, we need to take everything concerning them very seriously in terms of creation of employment, which is actually where we need to look at and create very good enabling environment to ensure that even their SME businesses thrive. You know, so if the government can create more employment using this promising certain opportunities and making sure those opportunities come by, then we are actually going to be taking care of that agitation coming from the youth of Nigeria.
Let's talk tech now and say that many expect that a lot should be happening, of course, in that space, communications and digital economy. And of course, that's also for the youth. How would you react to activities in that space since this new administration? Many are saying that they expect more from the tech space. Are you seeing what you expect?
Yeah, we are, you know, appointing a minister to be in charge of that particular sector shows the willingness and the will of a government to be able to drive that particular sector, because that is actually a sector that's ruling the world today. And to have at the helm of affairs somebody who is also in that field also shows seriousness. And so what we're doing with all the various departments of government in that space, very interesting, and we need to find ways of funding innovators, inventors in this area. And so we need to create that opportunities where we're going to be funding and creating those opportunities for people who have invented things in ICT to move forward, because this economy is growing tremendously through the ICT sector. And so if that is where we are growing, you know, this is a very major deviation from the oil and gas sector. And so the ICT sector is contributing a lot to the GDP of the country. If that is where we're headed to, we need to grow it and move faster so that we can take advantage of that particular opportunity.
Before I let you go, just like you said, there's the 3 million technical talents program instituted by the Ministry of Communications, Innovation and Digital Economy. All of this, many want them to, come into fruition and start to see the positives in this. Also, the NEL Fund, where youths are supposed to get funding for educational loan funds for the young ones. But moving on, what will be your outlook, particularly with the fallout of the policies and ways that government is trying to address the fallout? What's your outlook for the country in its entirety? Inflation has dropped for 2 months, but NPR figures are still going up. We don't know which is going down for which. Well, how does that come to you? Let's wrap up on that note.
Yeah, for this kind of loan, students' loan, this kind of loan should be such that, first of all, to be able to reach every single youth or student wanting to access the loan. And it should be spread all over the country, and it should be managed in such a way that there is no hidden agenda in executing and making sure these loans are distributed, well, evenly distributed to all parts of the country. We also should ensure that there are no people from outside who will claim to be students in order for them to access these loans. So management of these loans should be a very important, it should be paramount in the heart of government, making sure that these loans that are meant for students and that are meant for youth, that are meant for youth development, actually go to the right people that they are meant for. In the past, we have known how such grants and loans were distributed to people who have no business with such loans. So I think we need to get our house in order very, very well before we start executing this particular aspect of it. Because when it has to do with loans, when it has to do with grants, every Nigerian will claim to be part of that particular group that are supposed to be beneficiaries of those loans and grants. So we need to get that part very, very well first.
Dr. Chidoke Ikechukwu, I must thank you so much for your time on the program. Managing Director and CEO, Dignity Finance and Investment Limited. Enjoy the rest of your day. We appreciate your time, as always.
Thank you very much, Taylor.
Let's take a break. When we come back, we'll be talking markets. Don't go away.